So in this video, we are talking about your critical assignment that you will be submitting to TaskStream in the final week of the course. You are responsible for the final exam as well as the critical assignment. Now, I just want to bring out to your attention the critical assignment is worth 100 points, but if we're following the directions given in the video, it's going to be 100 points that you can gain on your grade to really make a difference in where you wind up in your final grade. So what are you doing for your presentation? You are selecting a mathematical topic. So what I would suggest is going through the learning activities to find a topic that you feel comfortable with. So if you look in here, we've got these objectives: solve rational equations, solving application. That's kind of where you're going to look for your topic. You're going to want to pick one of these objectives we've done at any point in the course, and you want to be able to complete that topic. Now, the presentation can be a PowerPoint, it can be a video. You could use different online softwares like Prezi, but it does need to be a file type that I can open. So if you do a video, you can upload it to YouTube just as a backup, as well as to TaskStream. That way we've got a kind of a backup situation if something goes wrong. But typically a PowerPoint is usually the easiest method to go with here. So what needs to happen on the slides? When you're creating a PowerPoint for this, I'm looking that you explain the topic thoroughly. So what I would suggest is, if you're looking at a math topic of, say, logarithms, you need to explain what is a logarithm in the first slide. So give a little bit of background. Now, when you're looking at sources, you can use your textbook. You can use Khan Academy is good. You can use OpenStax. You can use Lumen. You don't want to use Wikipedia. You don't want to use Purple Math. Any of those editable sites you don't want to use. Now, when you're explaining what the math concept is, you have to cite a source for that. So you can look at the textbook, you can go to Khan Academy in the search bar and type it in, and then you would need to cite that in APA format. So what does that look like on the slide? The first slide is what is logarithms. Your citation would be the author. So if you were Khan Academy, it'd be Khan Academy, comma, the year if they have one. Most of what you guys have done in the past has been online, so Khan Academy is great. You can typically find what you need there to describe what is it. Okay, on the next slide, I want you to tell me how you solve them. So if it's a rational equation, how do you get them into non-root form to solve them? If it's a complex fraction, how do you solve it? What are the steps? So think about breaking the concept down into a series of steps. If you were explaining to someone, here is how you solve a logarithm. Step 1, write as an exponent. Step 2, so you're looking for steps to solve the problem. On the next slide, and it may take more than one slide to explain some of these concepts because they can be a little bit of a challenge. So the next slides we're looking for, when is this used in the real world? And that's where you may have to find some other websites outside of Khan Academy, but usually you can find something reputable through Google Scholar. You can point to something there to finding how is it used? How is it used in the real world? Why is it helpful? So those are the kind of answers that I'm looking for in the next portion of it. So that's really the application and critical thinking is, how is it used? And that's where you're going to be doing research, because chances are you're not sure off the top of your head how something is used, like a logarithm. You're going to have to research it. And again, citations and PowerPoint slides, you're going to put the author, comma, year, and then you're going to have a references slide at the end where you have a nice full APA citation. Okay, so when we're looking at things through a biblical lens of truth, this is an area I get a lot of questions on. When we are doing things in mathematics especially, sometimes it can be challenging for students to relate it to the Bible. And this is what I tell students. It's not about solving a parabola through a biblical lens. It's about perseverance. It's about strength of will. It's about excellence. It's about doing your best. It's about wisdom. So those are all ideas that you can look through in the biblical lens. And so behind the real world application, I'm looking for some sort of connection that you've made between one of those biblical principles and what you've learned this course. And that's probably going to be something that's personal to you. It's your personal experience and how you've looked at this material through a biblical lens, because hopefully you're not just leaving this class knowing how to factor. You're leaving this class learning a lifelong principle or having an accomplishment of feeling like you've gained wisdom, you've persevered through the class, you've prayed over this, you've sought God's face on your knees to help you make it through the class, any of that, that's what I'm looking for when I'm looking at a biblical lens. And then the last thing is those sources. So we are looking at, again, don't use Wikipedia, don't use anything where they could be editable by students. We are looking for organizations that are reputable, things that have been published and are published by somewhat reputable publishers. So, how do we convey all of our thoughts on a PowerPoint slide? So, you're going to have what's on the slide. I don't want to see paragraphs and paragraphs and paragraphs on the slide. Just like when you present your job space, the slide is just an outline. The notes section is where you would enter the text that you would be speaking if you were presenting in a live classroom. If you feel the need to put audio in your PowerPoint, you are 100% okay to do that. However, I know that sometimes that is an extra technology challenge, and you can definitely put the notes in what you would say. Okay, so if you have any questions, you can send me an email, you can post in the question forum, but I think this is overall going to be pretty simple if you follow that formula with the slides or your presentation and you use those notes to really expand on the outline that's in the slides. Another note, it's not necessarily fully in the rubric, but I am looking at you have a clean PowerPoint. It has a nice design. There's transitions. Just what you would submit to your boss. Okay, we want to make sure that we're professional because we want to build skills that you can actually translate to the workplace. So do make sure that you've got a references slide and that your presentation is just well put together. It's got some nice transitions, nothing super fancy. Okay, but just make it look clean and professional. And if you have any questions, feel free to reach out to me.